Welcome to the That's Good Broncos podcast. Now in a more listenable tone. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys, and we're going to lull you to sleep so that when this video ends, you accidentally watch another one on That's Good Broncos YouTube channel. Hi, Will.
That's actually a really good idea. I don't know why anybody didn't think about that beforehand.
Yeah, instead of being abrasive and going, "Hey, welcome to That's Good Sports or Broncos, whatever the fuck this is," I'm just gonna do this for the whole podcast and see how long my listener duration goes up.
Why are there only two ways to do broadcast radio? It feels like you either have to be coked up or like you just took a Xanax.
Yeah, well, those are the only two drugs you get offered before you go in the studio.
Those are the two genders of a radio broadcaster.
Here's a line, here's a pill. You pick which one you want.
It's a real Neo Matrix situation.
Yeah, except here, where we do legal drugs, a.k.a. benchwarmerbrew.com.
That's right.
My coffee. We had a huge June for the coffee, so shout out to everyone who bought my bullshit. The Armchair and 5 Points blends, I'm going to have discounts for those later this month, so keep an eye out for those. And as all episodes, this one brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up over at DraftKings. And that's it. Just use that code and then do some legal sports betting.
Start betting on whatever you want.
Yeah. Bet on everything.
Celebrity death pool, baseball, hockey's over, you know.
Yeah, baseball's the way to go right now, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I don't know, freaking tennis.
MMA, baseball.
Next year's hot dog eating contest.
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
You had to bet like $3,000 to win $100 on Joey Chestnut or something like that. But he was victorious again. Yeah, did you watch that?
I saw him choke the dude out, but no, I'm not gonna fucking sit down and watch a hot dog eating contest.
Oh, I watched it twice. I watched it when they aired it at 9:30 and then at 12:30.
Yeah. I mean, I get it's fascinating, but it's like once you've seen it once. I don't need to see it again.
I disagree. There's innovation that takes place every year. There's no manual on how to eat a hot dog. So people are coming up with new and exciting ways to do it each and every year.
Yeah. They still dipping it in the water?
Of course they dip it in the water.
See, that's cheating. It's cheating.
No, that's not cheating.
You got to eat the dry bun like a man.
I think they should have to eat it together. I think the wiener must be in the bun when you eat it. Otherwise, yeah, it kind of violates the spirit. It's not a hot dog. You're just eating a wiener. It's a wiener and bun eating competition. A hot dog is the two put together.
Yeah. The next innovation there is the guy who can come in and just drop the hot dogs down his throat. Just open up, you know, like a sword swallower. Mm-hmm. Just boom. Just let him plop full into his bed. Oh my God. Full hot dog just sitting in your. See, it's just. I don't know. I don't get it. I never will.
No, more for me.
More for Will to watch.
Anyway,
today we've got a couple interesting things. We're going to do the Broncos defensive Mount Rushmore because we did offense last week. Not a smashing success.
For July. It wasn't like Mario coming on and dishing official state secrets to us.
Yeah, we got to get
popped off.
We got to get Mario an official segment every week where it's just like dirt with Mario, and we just 10 minutes. He comes in, tells us the dirt, and everybody listens to the pod because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like it's like Good Morning Football with a correspondent.
Yeah,
that might be the next step for us.
Like Will Selva, but instead of the news and really bad jokes, he just gives us the dirt.
Yeah, we could make like a, Super Mario segment, something like that. I don't know. There's a lot to do there.
Ooh. And I say bad jokes as a fan of Will Selva. He's my favorite part of the show because he makes everybody cringe, and I respect that.
Is he your favorite part of the show now that Kay Adams left?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
You know what's weird too is like she left and then she was supposed to get that
the Amazon job.
And she didn't. So
no, Carissa Thompson.
What's Kay gonna do?
Kay's a free agent.
Kay, sorry, Will, you've been replaced by Kay Adams, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if that was on the table, I would have no choice but to accept my fate. I think that would, unselfishly, that would be the right move for the podcast.
But what kind of diva would she be if she came in and be like, I'll do the show, but not with that guy Will?
Yeah, I mean, still, you just have to do it.
I think I would say no.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you. Also,
I would replace you with who would I replace you with if I could choose?
Mario,
yeah, easy.
Yeah. There you go.
Today, I wanted to talk about two things before we get into the defensive Mount Rushmore. Russell Wilson's receivers never being open in Seattle, a fun stat thing I saw. And we learned a little bit more about Demaryius Thomas and his death. It didn't change what we thought in that they believed he had a seizure and that caused his sudden passing. And I think I read the seizure led to cardiac arrest, and that's why he died. But we also learned that he was suffering from stage 2 CTE, and that wasn't the cause of the death. He had the seizures, which
the car accident
dated back to that car accident. Yes. And then the CTE was a separate thing happening, both though affecting him even outside of, dying in that the last year or so of his life, his family was talking about how he was struggling with CTE, becoming, paranoid, having just a difficult time in social situations, with family, and, they were worried about it. And it's just like a story that's becoming more and more common for ex-NFL players. And I think that one of the scarier things that's happening is it seems to be affecting guys at a younger age, even when they leave the game. And I think I saw Des Bryant, tweeting about how there's lots of players suffering from this, but former players are still like too scared to talk about how it's affecting them. And there's a good article about Demaryius Thomas. The New York Times published it, so I suggest you go and read through it. It's not just about the CTE, but kind of like just a nice recap of Demaryius's entire story, his journey to the NFL, all the adversity he came growing up with his mom being, arrested and sentenced to 20 years in prison when he was a kid, about him being bullied in school because of that, and how he found like just an outlet in sports. And I think it's just like it's another reminder to me, because I think we just take for granted the sacrifice guys are making to play professional football in terms of the physicality of it. And we know injuries are a risk. You can see injuries when they're really bad, like the Alex Smith leg break, and like guys tear ACLs, and you hate to see that, but it's the fucking brain trauma that guys are risking by playing. And you think of Demaryius Thomas, you don't think of him missing like a lot of games due to concussions, as opposed to somebody like Wes Welker, who had a ton throughout his career. And it was like just another reminder of how much like I respect what fucking pro athletes risk when they're out there. So that was my takeaway. It's not like there was, the CTE thing was new, but it just sucks. A little depressing too when you read through it again, but
It was, yeah. It was really sad. And you read about like the panic attacks and anxiety and depression and everything that he was going through in the last couple of years of his life. And it really just makes the entire arc, all the more tragic. And it's really like, I put it in the script, but it's not even bittersweet. It's really just bitter that, kind of what playing professional football did, and just football in general, did for his life. And, eventually got him, reunited with his mother after so long, and what it did for him personally, besides all the personal gains. And then kind of what it took away from him too.
Yeah. It's a weird, it is a weird situation to have that be like the thing that changes your life for the better financially, and, open up so many doors for things you want to do, but also can just end all those opportunities so soon. And it's not just DT. There's a long list of guys. You think about like Junior Seau dealing with him, one of, the greatest Chargers to ever do it. A huge pillar in the community of San Diego. And then just like this whole last year has been weird with player deaths, and it's the different reasons. And I don't know. I just wanted to bring everybody down before, we talked about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we were using our NPR voices for that segment, not the,
That's true.
The shock jock voices. That would be distasteful.
Yeah, it's always hard when those guys like got to change tone, and you still sound like an asshole, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just like it brought up because we were hanging out that weekend too, and going to that game against the Lions. Like, I don't think I've ever, cried at a, public sporting event.
Yeah.
I do it all the time when I'm watching the game and they lose. I cry every time.
Yeah.
But no, just to like the fact that, it's hard to like, I'm sure it, came through on TV, but to be there and to see them, take the penalty, and, the Lions decline the penalty too. And to have that moment to honor, a fallen Broncos, really just tragic and but a special moment too. And it just adds a little bit to the overall tragedy of the situation. But we miss him. And how many times do you come across like Peyton Manning highlights on the NFL accounts and
dude,
throwback account morning, and everything? Yeah.
I turned on the TV like for the first time in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
To see if there's just the NFL Network, and they were just replaying the Broncos Cowboys game from that season.
Yeah, it's like you see him all the time, and it always takes like a couple seconds to be like, oh, he's gone. He's not.
Yeah,
he's not with us anymore. Doesn't feel real still.
Yeah, it's sad. It was gut wrenching, and hopefully they figure out some solutions to help curb.
Yeah, I think the padded helmets that they wear in practice now, like they look ridiculous. They look really, really stupid. But that is if that helps players in the future, it's a worthy trade-off.
I think they need to be bigger though.
I think they should. Yeah, if you're gonna make them look stupid, just go all the way.
Imagine how hard it's going to be to throw over like the line if those things just get super big.
Yeah.
They add like 6 inches to guys who are already like 6'6".
Yeah, no kidding. It's like
Russell Wilson has no chance.
Yeah, how's Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray's dead if that happens.
They're already screwed. Yeah.
Okay, Russell Wilson. I saw this stat, Will. Okay. Nick Kindle tweeted this. Nearly 45% of all dropbacks Russell Wilson took last season resulted in 0 of his pass targets getting open. Okay.
That's bad.
That's bad. Here's the chart. I always look at these charts and be like, I don't get it. I don't really truly get it. But Seattle, perfectly covered dropbacks against.
Mm-hmm.
So no defense or no offense was more perfectly covered than the Seahawks receivers last season. Now, is that a result of Seahawks receivers not being shifty enough to get open, route running? Is it the offense becoming too predictable to get open? You think a guy like Russell Wilson, who can buy time, that guys would eventually get open. And then the vertical part of this chart is contested targets.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm assuming that that's like the percentage for which the quarterback throws into a tight window or into, to a covered receiver.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing to think about because I think Broncos fans believe that's going to change by a good amount.
Yeah. Where are we on that graph?
The Broncos are buried under the Rams logo.
I see it. Yeah. So is the Cowboys and the Patriots logo has combined to make the worst fan base possible.
The worst version of America's team is there.
Yeah, I would get good Lord if you ran into if someone spliced a Cowboys fan and a Patriots fan together, that person would be the worst
it's just
fan
like
of all time.
Disgusting Frankensteining of football fans.
God.
So Broncos receivers were not covered perfectly. Second, looks like a tie, second best in terms of, I guess, getting open next to the 49ers somehow.
I mean, that tells me a lot about the scheme.
Is that a Deebo Samuel stat?
Yeah, it might be a Deebo
scheme
stat. It might
too.
be a Mike McDaniel stat, Kyle Shanahan stat.
Sure. George Kittle stat in there too.
Yeah. The Chiefs, Chiefs really, they were open.
They were open. I think that's going to change without Tyreek Hill, but
yeah.
So I think like what I want to talk about is I think Tyler Lockett gets open. DK Metcalf, he's kind of like your jump ball type guy, just going to be bigger.
He's not a separation guy.
No. But it'll be interesting. Like nobody's going to track this stat next year. I won't see it again unless I'm.
I don't
lucky.
know how they measure this in
I don't
general.
Just that was one point I wanted to make is like you can make an analytic for anything. Like if you want to paint a certain player in a good light, you can build one of these charts to their favor, and people look at it and just be confused by it.
We should make up one of these graphs sometime.
Oh, I wanted to do that for like a social post. Where it's just like the bottom line reads numbers moving to the right, and the other one is like numbers moving vertically, and just put them everywhere and just say like, oh my God, look at this team or this player, and see how long it takes before people like figure it out.
Yeah. Please, like if you're gonna do graphs like this from now on, attach some kind of methodology or like an abstract or something. Like I gotta.
Well, what do they say? Good Mahomes graph, good Shanahan graph, good Russ graph. How often offenses were covered up on every route per drop back versus how often the QB threw into a contested target.
Oh, so this is okay. So this is PFF Eric. So Pro Football Focus, they just kind of look at the play and subjectively decide who's open and who's not.
Yeah. But I think this is if we're going to use like a metric, I think this is one that will make Russ look better if true, because I feel like we believe Jerry Jeudy will be open. I think Cortland Sutton's a better receiver than DK Metcalf. I'm sure Seahawks fans would disagree. And then outside of that, you've got Alberto, Dulcich, KJ Hamler. Hopefully one of these guys is open and Nathaniel Hackett is scheming these guys to get open. And it's not getting too predictable because that's been the knock on a Russell Wilson offense over time. Defenses kind of know how to defend it. So we'll see.
It's just, another item in a long list of things that are getting me very, very excited for the season. Very excited. What are we, 65 days away?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's speed it up.
We're 1 second away from me talking about DraftKings Sportsbook, Will. The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer, with tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports. You can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the offseason like never before. Global warming. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000. And if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major action for baseball, golf, MMA, and more. Plus, with same-game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options feel endless. Endless summer. Like the movie?
Like the movie.
Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. You just got to use code DNVR when you download DraftKings Sportsbook through the App Store or wherever else the apps are. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's a huge bonus. And they're doing it because no hockey, no basketball, no football. So take advantage of that. Code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the notes for details. Ba-boom.
If you bet on Chris Bryant to hit his first Rockies home run last night on July 5th, probably made a lot of money.
Was that the guy they gave all the money to?
That's the guy they gave all the money to. That sure is.
Wow. And he was
hurt.
Oh.
But it was his 24th game as a Rocky.
That's at altitude, bruh.
He didn't even hit it at Coors Field. He hit it in L.A. Dodger Stadium.
Bust already.
Yeah, I don't think we have to. I don't think we have to hedge it as a player who's on the verge of being a bust, like our upcoming video.
Teaser.
Check it out. Check it out.
All right. Check it ease. Check it out. Oh, wait. Hold on. Boom. Okay. Broncos defensive Mount Rushmore. Not gonna lie, this is a little trick. This is trickier than the offense.
It's tricky. Yeah, it's tricky.
Because what do you look at for stats? We're talking longevity. Got tackles. You got sacks. You got picks. You got fumble recoveries. You got forced fumbles. You got just dominance.
I'm looking at accolades. I'm looking a lot at accolades. To be fair, and just subjective opinion.
Yeah, the Broncos have had a lot of really good safeties. That's what
they've had a ton.
Corners, there's also a good amount there. Defensive line's a little interesting. It's like you just basically go to the friggin' 90s. And edge and linebackers. So you combined edge and linebackers, Will?
I did. Yeah, so I included, spoiler alert, like Von Miller's on my list. He is a linebacker to me. Because I looked at their all-time team. There's a top 100 list of Broncos, and they had Von Miller listed as a linebacker.
Which, he's an outside linebacker. I guess defenses have kind of changed over the course of time. Like, I guess I'm not really old enough to remember how Simon Fletcher was used. Is he a linebacker that, they blitz a lot, or was he more of an edge player at the time that?
Yeah. It's like, did he have his hand in the dirt? Was he rushing from a 2-point stance? I guess is kind of the difference there. I mean, Vaughn, dropped back into coverage every once in a while too. So
yeah. Vaughn, whether you're talking linebackers or edge, he's number one. That's easy. I made a list for edge. I included Von Miller, Simon Fletcher, Trevor Price, and Elvis Dumerville. Now, Price and Doomerville, that's definitely a product of the way edge players and how their role has sort of evolved. But Trevor Price was very good. I think people kind of forget about Trevor Price. Where was he? Where's my sack stats here? Because all time he is 4th for Broncos sacks at 64 in 121 games.
Pretty good.
Elvis Duverville just a half sack behind him in just 91 games. And obviously the whole fax machine debacle, you know, you could make a case against, I think, Elvis Dumerville if we're talking about, you know, edge rushers, guys who can get to the quarterback. But Simon Fletcher, 97.5 sacks for the Broncos. That's second all time. And he had the streak for most consecutive games with a sack at 10, which was tied with DeMarcus Ware.
It's been what year was that?
What?
The consecutive games.
What year did he do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. Let's see here. It was. I know where it was.
That's okay. We need to slow it down.
Chris Jones broke that streak in 2018.
That dickhead.
10 forced fumbles. Oh, they didn't even give the year. Just shared that record with DeMarcus Ware for most consecutive games with a sack with 10. And that's across the league. That's not just a Broncos record. So, you know, I think easy Miller, Fletcher, 1-2, and then Trevor Price, Doomerville for edge. As you blend this into linebackers, I'm curious to see where you go.
Okay. So I'll start with my defensive line. Just, you know, hand in the ground lineman. I have Rich Tombstone Jackson. He had not a super long career. He played with Denver from 67 to 71, but he had 3 straight All-Pro seasons from 68 to 1970. He also played 1 season with the Raiders at the beginning of his career, and Denver said, "Thank you very much. You're coming to us." Then he finished his career with the Browns. But yeah, 10.5 sacks, 12.5 sacks, 10 sacks in an era where I don't think they recorded sacks at that time. So that was all retroactively done.
Right.
And so he got, you know, he had a really, really nice peak there. And I had Trevor Price for all the reasons that you mentioned.
Right.
This is kind of a surprise. I don't have the stats to back this up, nor do I have the accolades, but Derek Wolfe.
Fair enough.
You know, I think it's hard to quantify exactly what he did, but he gave that 2015 defense like the edge that they needed. Not like the, you know, edge on the offensive line, but the attitude and the meanness.
Him and Malik Jackson were cornerstones on the D-line.
They really did, like, you know, set up Vaughn and Ware. And he just gave them like a little bit of, you know, like, I'm going to eat your children kind of vibe to that defense.
He's going to eat Phillip Rivers' children.
Yeah. And he's a little bit like the last player on my defensive line, Mount Rushmore, who is Lyle Alzado.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is kind of known for, you know, people kind of remember him as a Raider, but I believe he played longer for Denver.
Yeah.
And he made a couple of all-pro teams. One of them with the Broncos the year that they went to the Super Bowl in 1977. He was second place for Defensive Player of the Year that season. And I just wanted to include some guys from the 1977 year. I've got a couple more coming up.
Yeah.
That was a really special team. So
yeah,
wanted to shout out Alzado. I think he played 8 years for the Broncos.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
Also known for
passed away early.
steroids.
Steroids. I think he wanted to box Muhammad Ali. I think maybe he did.
Yeah, I think they did, like in the exhibition match.
Yeah, so he's a crazy
Something
person.
like that. Those are interesting for D-line. I would have thrown in the other Jackson, Tom Jackson.
Well, hold on a second.
I thought, isn't that four?
Easy there.
Is that your fourth?
He's a linebacker.
Is he an outside linebacker? Or just regular linebacker?
I believe he's a regular old linebacker.
Oh. Well, then I got Alfred Williams and Neil Smith in there on the D-line to think about. Neil Smith, just to piss off Chiefs fans. I would and he was good. Comes over from Kansas City, wins 2 Super Bowls, or 1 Super Bowl or 2 with the Broncos?
2.
He was with both. Okay. Yeah, really just a good middle. I could just put a middle finger on the Rushmore, and Chiefs fans will know that's Neil Smith.
Well, I've got Dale Carter on my Mount Rushmore for cornerbacks too. Yeah. That's Dale more of a middle finger to us.
That is a middle finger to us for sure. And then I have old Alfred Williams on there.
Nice. You know, a CU buff and a Bronco and a radio guy.
And a radio guy. You know, let's see, 9th in sacks for the Broncos, 28.5. That's pretty good for defense linemen. Your guy, Derek Wolfe, 33 from that end. So also pretty good. Man, if Shelby Harris could have played his whole career here, I would have thought about him down the road. But
well,
not on like the Rushmore, but a guy I really liked when he was playing was Keith Traylor as well.
Yeah, I also wanted to shout out Greg Kragen, who's a nose tackle.
Yeah,
for a long time and pretty good at it. And Rulon Jones.
Oh yeah,
he's kind of a sack master off the edge.
And best name for this, not just a nod would if we were going by names alone, possibly number 1 would be Ebenezer Ekibon to put on there.
Yeah, member of the old Broncos.
Yep,
along with Courtney Brown and Kennard Lang, I think. You had Ebenezer Ekibon and then Michael Myers on the same defensive line. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
If he was better and his name was Michael Myers, god damn, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, we just call him Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Halloween and Christmas. There you go.
God, why wasn't YouTube around then?
God damn it.
All right. So, are we moving to linebackers then?
Yeah, let's do linebackers.
Okay, because that was kind of edge, D-line. We know we kind of mashed it all together.
Yeah, we've got our own separate Rushmores, so it's cool. You've got your own methodology. I've got mine.
Okay, so I guess so with my linebackers, pretty easy. Randy Gradishar. This is for the old school,
the old heads,
Broncos fans. The greatest Hall of Fame snub we have. 20 interceptions from the linebacker position, which is tied with Chris Harris, and 3 defensive touchdowns for Gradishar. Believe he's got to be one of the tackling leaders.
Yeah, he was. He's also Defensive Player of the Year in 1978.
Okay.
Along with a couple All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls.
7 Pro Bowls. That's
7 Pro Bowls. Feels light. Should have had more.
Where the fuck I want? Let me just look up.
Rest assured, this is one of those players where if they played a season of their career with either Dallas or Pittsburgh,
they would be in the Hall of Fame. They would have
been first ballot Hall of Famers.
I always like how older players' stats are really hard to find because they just didn't track it.
Are you looking at Pro Football Reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have tackle numbers.
Yeah, and that's not like tackle numbers. That's not a great stat, but I just wanted to see how many he had. Anyway, he's on the list. He's probably number 1 for linebacker.
For inside, yeah, for sure.
I put Bill Romanowski on there.
Okay.
Just because the attitude, he was crazy. 23 sacks. Not the overall best linebacker, but I think a key part of the defense and their overall like just attitude and aggressive nature, he fit that for those
Yeah, he's that like wild card.
runs.
He's that wild card that every good defense needs. Like you throw Wolfe in there too. Although Wolfe,
they're the same guy, just different position.
Yeah.
On the field.
On the field. I think they're a little different off of it.
Yeah. Okay, who do you got? Who else do you got here, linebacker?
Okay, so Von Miller. Yeah, what else do I need to say? Randy Gradishar. And then I have Tom Jackson.
Okay.
At linebacker. He was 5'11", 220 pounds at linebacker. And
That's
he was
a stout man.
Yeah, I'm pretty undersized, all things considered back then. Well, back then you had to, really stuff the run more. Yeah. Had 7 interceptions in a season at linebacker.
That's pretty damn good, Tom.
And didn't make the Pro Bowl. That just blows my mind. Had a 2 interception game in the Broncos 1977 divisional round victory over the Steelers. And I think he scored. I was going to say he scored 2 touchdowns, but that's not true. He picked off 2 passes of Terry Bradshaw in their first ever postseason game, I think.
Known John Elway hater, Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, screw him. Also, he's on here because, he was like one of our first players to become a broadcaster.
Yeah.
After their career, he was Tom Jackson's Chris Berman's sidekick forever.
That's a strong duo.
Yeah.
That's a great duo.
It's an all-time pairing. So
Iconic.
Tom Jackson's there. Then I have Carl Mecklenburg.
Yeah, that's who I have in the final spot.
An all-timer. The Rhino, I think they call him. The albino Rhino, something like that.
Now he sells now he's spokesman for Windows.
Windows, like the software? Or just Windows in general?
Windows. Local window business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, weather's nice in Colorado. You need a good window.
Double paned,
good scenery,
weatherproof windows. Call Carl Mecklenburg directly. 555-329-1.
Yeah, just had a great career. And I guess he was linebacker and he rushed off the edge at the end of his career exclusively. Had 9 sacks in 1993. His 11th year.
3rd all-time on the Broncos sack list at 79. 11-year career.
Great player. 12th round pick.
Damn.
In 1983. So they got Elway and Mecklenburg.
Not bad.
In 83. Pretty good haul.
Pretty good draft. Good draft.
No kidding.
Okay, we move to secondary.
Secondary. Let's do corner. Corner or safety?
Corners. There's one guy, like if you're doing a Mount Rushmore, there's one really good player you're going to leave off, I feel like.
Yes, definitely.
My list. Well, okay. For answer, hold on. Not baseball.
Pro Football Reference. We're talking about pro football.
We're talking about football. Damn it. Way to carry the podcast, Will, while I am looking for this stat here.
Well, you have to be better at looking and talking like me.
No.
Yeah.
I refuse.
You gotta divvy up your brain power.
Okay, I guess the question is, Billy Thompson, was he a corner or a safety?
Yeah, that came up for me too. I decided that he was a safety for my own purposes.
Wow.
I mean, I guess we could split it up. But I think you were probably looking for Billy Thompson, and it's listed under Bill Thompson.
I wrote his name wrong. I was looking for a wrong player altogether.
So it says he played 4 years at cornerback and then another, was it 9 years at safety? So that's a safety.
That's a long time to play. Okay, well, I originally had him in the corners list. If I take him off corner, then I've got Champ Bailey, Aqib Talib, Lewis Wright, Chris Harris.
We're so close. We almost went 4 for 4, and I changed mine at the last second. So I had Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey, pretty good player.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of him. Chris Harris Jr., one of my favorites, undrafted out of Kansas. I always thought that was cool that he and Talib played together at Kansas too.
Yeah.
I don't know. How would you watch Talib tape at Kansas and then totally ignore the guy on the other side?
Well,
I know they just overlapped for a year, but like,
yeah, Chris Harris, the coach and him didn't get along at Kansas, and a lot of his playing time, I believe there's a coaching change. He just didn't get enough playing time. It really fucked his chances of getting drafted.
Maybe that's why Kansas sucks at football.
Yeah.
Because they bench their best players. Just a thought. All right, so Champ, Chris Harris Jr. I also have Lewis Wright. I had Talib, and I crossed him out, and I put Patrick Surtain. I mean, I'm just calling my shot on that one.
Okay.
Like, let's be honest. At the end of his career, he'll be on the Mount Rushmore for corners.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Possibly within a few years.
Give him a gold jacket now.
This is also making up for when I was mad on our stream that we drafted him. I don't think I've ever been stupider on the show.
Who knows?
I feel
George Payton knows. George
Payton knows what he's doing. He's on the Mount Rushmore for GMs.
Okay, so the only difference is you're replacing
Talib for Surtain.
Okay.
Yeah. Which really, I can't defend that. But, like I said, Babe Ruth calling my shot.
If I had to push Chris Harris off for Billy Thompson, that's kind of what I had.
I like Chris being on there.
Yeah, Billy Thompson played, 69 to 81. It's not like a guy most people our age remember, but second all-time in Broncos fumble recoveries at 21, trailing only John Elway.
The real loose ball magnet.
Yeah. And third in interceptions all-time at 40 with the Broncos. So
it's pretty good.
All right, safeties. This one is tough because we know Steve Atwater. 1-1 for us, right, Will?
Correct. Okay. He is the George Washington on this Mount Rushmore for safeties.
Yeah. Then I got Dennis Smith.
Yeah, he's on there for me too.
Okay. I didn't make official. I just listed 7. So I went Atwater, Dennis Smith, Justin Simmons, John Lynch, Tyrone Braxton, Steve Foley, and Austin Gonsolin.
Oh, Goose.
Goose Goslin.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Now, I just started reading about Austin Gonsolin. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. Played in 1960 to 66. Part of the original, the inaugural Broncos team.
Yeah.
6 years with the team, Will. Playing in the 60s. Second all-time in interceptions for Broncos at 43. 11 interceptions as a rookie.
Pretty good.
And I was reading some of the old, there was articles about him from way back when, and it was just this guy's really good playing on the most fucking atrocious team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't it's so hard to say if a safety playing in 1960 to 66 on a really bad AFL team would translate into an all-time great safety. So I don't think I'll put him on my official Rushmore, but he is in the Ring of Fame. I just thought like he definitely had the production, and for 11 picks as a rookie back then, when they were playing in what, like 12 games, 14 games? I don't even know.
I believe it was a 12-game season back then.
Pretty insane.
Well, 14, sorry. Maybe the NFL was playing 12 games back then. The AFL was playing 14 because they're 4-9-1 that year.
Okay.
I think that's a good pick. I will say they threw the ball a lot in the AFL.
Okay.
Frank Shapuka threw 34 interceptions that season. He was the Broncos starting quarterback.
Damn.
Which is, it's just hilarious because that was just a normal stat line back then. So a lot of errant passes. It was a little easier to come by interceptions than it is today. But he led the league with 11 picks as a rookie. So good for him.
Yeah. I think that's still a record.
Also, we didn't have Pro Football Focus back then, so maybe I don't know what his, his true coverage grade was.
Yeah, his blown coverages.
Yeah.
His yards allowed in passing.
When is Pro Football Focus going to unearth old AFL footage and grade all of our favorite players from the 1960s and tell us that, like Jim Brown actually wasn't that good?
Yeah.
It was the Browns' offensive line doing all the work. Jim Brown is actually a replacement level player.
His average first contact per carry was after 5 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. He's actually trash.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got Atwater. Are you done with your list?
Well, yeah, that was just 7 guys I was thinking about. I think the only 2 I'm 100% sold on were Atwater and Dennis Smith.
I like that you had Tyron Braxton on there.
He was one of my favorite players growing up.
He was like kind of half and half corner and safety. He really bizarre because he played 12 years with Denver, but he had 1 year in the middle with Miami.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, actually, we want you back. Get back here.
Yeah, tied with Champ Bailey, 34 picks for the team. 165 games. That's a lot on defense. Would have been more if he didn't leave for Miami. So,
yeah, had an interception of Brett Favre in 1997 as well.
Yes.
That was a big one.
So I think my 4 would be Atwater, Smith, Braxton, and for history's sake, Steve Foley. Mm-hmm. But I could argue replacing one of those guys with Justin Simmons, possibly. I think he can finish as a Rushmore safety. I had John Lynch on the list just because I liked John Lynch when he came, but probably not worthy of a Rushmore. I mean, people don't even want him in the Ring of Fame. So,
yeah, I mean, chill out. Like, it's just a Ring of Fame. If you're really anti John Lynch, he's a big time leader for that team.
Yeah,
like, he was the vocal leader, kind of the tone setter, just the hardest hitter I think I've ever seen at that position. Like, so violent. One of those guys when they say like they wouldn't be able to play today. I don't know if he wouldn't have been able to play, but he would have had to play a lot differently. Probably play a different position. He'd be like a box safety, or like a linebacker.
Yeah, for sure.
Almost.
He would have just been used differently for his skill set.
Yeah, pretty much. I have Atwater, Smith, Billy Thompson, and then Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons already got 21 picks through his first 6 seasons here at safety. Pro Bowler, probably deserves more credit than he gets. He salvaged a 2016 draft that was a little lackluster. Paxton Lynch, Devontae Booker, guys like that.
Ouch.
So he was
and I
Adam
think
Gotsis.
I think he's going to play better this year now that he's not going to have to chew out his head coach Vic Fangio for not listening to anything he's seeing on the field.
Yeah, plus he's going to be able to, jump some passes when they have the lead.
That's right. Play with some aggression.
Yeah. He's going to he's just a ball hawk. Like, you can count on him for some big picks every season. It's like clockwork. So,
I think we got a pretty good list.
I think we had a great list.
Our list was perfect.
Immaculate. If you disagree, just keep it to yourself.
Just shut up.
Just shut the hell up,
please. I'm so sick of everybody
do not
disagreeing.
Comment. If you think I'm wrong, just fucking save it, pal.
Eat a rock.
Eat a rock.
Eat a rock.
Eat a couple rocks.
All right. Well, you made it through the podcast. We'll be back next week. We might not. I don't know. Might be a week off, Will, because Grossi is going to be staying with me.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
It's not saying
it might just be later. What's that?
It's not staying in my bedroom, is he? Oh, shit.
It's going to soil it, too.
Oh, boy. You guys got any good plans?
We're going to a concert Tuesday.
Who are you seeing?
Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
I've heard of them.
It's the main reason he was coming.
Okay.
They're playing at Red Rocks, and it's like one of his favorite bands. And I really like them, too. I got to figure out what else we're going to do. Mario's hosting a football game this weekend. So If we can get there on time, we might play. But
practice for the big one.
That's right.
Good job.
Good job. Good night.
And John Elway plays entire career with just one ACL.
Good friggin' luck.